episode 140 of Tattoo Collecting 101, right here on Guy Epperson, Reinventing the Tattoo. A community for tattooers, apprentices, collectors, and all those curious about the world of tattoo. We aim to educate and inspire one another to create better artwork and to leave the tattoo community a better place than how we found it through our live stream and real world events. We stream out most days of the week, so be sure to check out the full schedule of events as well as our professional development courses from over 20 world-class tattoo artists at reinventingthetattoo.com. You can also find the shows on our Roku channels and all your favorite podcast platforms. So search for Reinventing the Tattoo and you'll find us something. Real quick, just want to say thank you to the sponsors who make it all possible. Thank you to Live Tattoo Events, which has a large, most comprehensive resource of tattoo events going on in the world right now. Tattoo Now, technology for tattooers, for the leading edge of professional development, management, and digital tools for tattooers of all levels, as well as our affiliate with the Fireside Tattoo Network and the Apprenticeship Center. And lastly, we just want to say thank you to Guy Epperson, who makes it all possible. He's the founder and inspiration behind the Reinventing the Tattoo community. You can go to guyepperson.com to get your copy of the Biomech Encyclopedia, instructional DVDs, original oil paintings, and custom clothing. So if you're enjoying the knowledge we're sharing, be sure to share another video and watch more. And on.
Wow, that was wonderful.
What's up? What's up?
I think that was one of our better intros, Kyle. Great job.
Thanks.
No stutters, no stammers. Neither of us have to yell at you for anything.
I have to use a strong word. Want to is different.
I was trying to pick up your slack the other day. I was trying to channel my inner Ben and give Kyle a hard time, but
Didn't work out very well, did it?
it doesn't come as
It just
natural to
felt
me.
a little too relentless.
Too relentless, too forced.
Sounded like you didn't mean it. Well, the trick is authenticity,
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah, like you have to genuinely just not give a shit about the other person's feelings and just drill.
I'm glad I have that support.
Hey,
Welcome to bullying 101.
Over here to pick up the pieces.
It's like a true dysfunctional family.
Don't worry, boo boo. You fall. I won't even let your knees hit the ground.
I'll put these people.
Word.
Oh man, we're off to an awkward
From a
start
place of
already.
Love. Every time. If I'm not teasing you, just that means I don't like you. We should. I tease you all the time.
Push nature.
It's hot enough for alcohol in the middle of the day and not even notice. Does anybody else notice that?
It is hot today.
Yeah.
I don't keep my house very cool, but like I have my little window unit air conditioner that keeps it like comfortable. And I went outside this morning and I was like, wow, that is a noticeable difference. Like I was comfortable with a hoodie on and I walked outside and I was not comfortable anymore.
Yeah, I used to think my air conditioning sucked, and then it hits 90 outside. And you walk in and you're like, oh.
This is a lot more comfortable than I thought it was. Sarah and I went hiking earlier today. We went to Innis Metro Gardens,
Yeah, it's a
north
good
of
spot.
town. Yeah,
That's a good spot.
not sure. I feel like maybe I had been there, but not
Yeah.
explored the whole park.
You
but-
there with me.
Okay, well,
No,
that's where we went. That's where we went.
Another life ago, I used to have a condo that backed up to the backside of that park. So we used to be able to come
Oh,
out.
that's the park.
We used to be able
Okay.
to come out of my back door and literally like, giggity, and like take this little trail back into that back park. It was
Nice.
one of my,
So you can show me
most
all the
frequent
secret
stops.
trails.
there's secret trails there you don't want to take. Let me tell you,
Mm,
because you just end up in the back of somebody's house or the back of the golf course by the municipal building. Not that I've done that one, but I've done that one.
okay, okay. We were by like the secret garden area. We just hiked back to that little area and chilled. Sarah's sitting here right off stage, my sister. She got all kinds of cool pictures. I took some cool slow motion videos of some flowers, like they were doing cool things, but they were just existing.
It's a rad, like in the cut, out of the cut kind of spot. Like you're kind of middle of the hood, and then you're like, oh shit, there's a giant ass park.
Yeah.
It's a good spot.
It was a pretty good way to spend the day. We were only there like maybe an hour and a half, not too terribly long, but it was a nice little like, I'm not even gonna call it a stroll. We just kind of wandered. There was no like pace.
Like hung out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we just
LB and I decided
lollygagged.
to go camping yesterday, and it was sick this morning. when we woke up, and it was like 7, and we were both kind of already like, you wanna get the fuck out of here? Yeah. Yeah.
So Maddie,
Yeah,
Yes.
look at you, got some Adam sticking out. I got some Adam sticking out.
I don't.
Yeah.
We haven't had an Adam Brandt's tribute day in a while. Now we could add Maddie to that mix.
Add Maddie to the
Yeah.
Adam.
It's all because of his painting. As soon as I saw his painting, I was like, oh, that's where Biomech goes for my brain. I
Yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
So he put cool little goobers in there, and I'm sure he's gonna put a bunch more. Like we talked about, little bugs we're gonna put in there, like make it cool, like little fairy boots. The
Nice.
goal. We're
We
going
used
back in
to-
September.
Back in the early days of the show, we used to like call ourselves the unofficial Adam Brandt's fan club.
I love that.
Cause like Jordan was getting worked on by Adam. I've got a bunch of Adam work, and it seemed like every guest that we had Adam
Yeah.
work for the longest time. So it was like the unofficial, official Adam Brandt's fan club,
Except
except
me.
for Ben.
I have 0 Adam Brand tattoos.
You got some
Uh,
room. What about the side of your foot
I've
right
probably
there?
known Adam longer than 98% of people.
You
in
have
this
known
building.
Adam longer than me.
You got toes and a side of foot that you can
Still
mess
I
up,
have
man.
0 Adam tattoos.
He did my tootsies. He's very
This is the
efficient.
thing. This is the thing. If I were to request Adam to do a tattoo for me, I would ask for the most non-Adam France tattoo of all time.
Like Pizza Steve.
I'd be like, bro, what is some dumb shit you just want to do?
Pizza Steve.
Because like I love his work, and I'm not in any way, shape, or form dissing it, but you know Adam from across the room. You see his bio, and you're like, I know that motherfucker too. Like it is so well done and so well thought out and so meticulous that like when you see other people's bio, it's almost, I don't want to say lacking, that's not the right word, but it doesn't hit the nose. for
He's
me.
not the only person that does robotic biomech. However,
Absolutely,
his stuff
but as
has
far as it's
just different
his
qualities that
stuff.
are,
Watching him do it's crazy. Like the way that he like he's like process like he's like closing his eyes and feels my foot. And he's like, yeah, like that's what's supposed to be there. You know what I mean? Like he has no idea, just Sharpies, and was like, this is what needs to happen. And when I looked at it, I was like, oh yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
It feels like it's been there forever. Like that was supposed to be on my leg.
The coolest time I've ever spent with Adam was watching him do a line drawing, Sharpie drawing on somebody else. And it was one of those just kind of like, I understand you now, bro. Like it was very, just like you're saying.
Yeah.
He felt where what needed to go.
Yeah.
He literally just was like,
he just like looks and you can tell he's like letting things develop in space, you know.
We
He'll
kind of
just
talked
give that
about what
look.
world we wanted it to be from, and then he was like, yeah, I got this. This is what it needs to look like. And then how would that function in this world we kind of talked about. It was basically, I was like, this painting that you have going on, and it's exactly what I need. Something like that. It's like real weird and crazy and colorful and bright, like all this stuff, very new schooly bio
Mhm.
is what I wanted.
Yeah.
And like the ideas that he's put on there, I'm like, oh yeah, that's exactly what I was hoping for. And then immediately after our first session, it was like a couple days later, I was like, yeah, so I'm having him do both legs and like both my shins to toes now, I guess.
I'm gonna go ahead and dedicate that limb to
It's just crazy. Like what, like just, I don't know. This looks like it's supposed to be their little fairy boots.
very
I love the crazy faces creeping up.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would I'd get some Adam stuff, but I'd definitely ask him for something out of the box, something out of his normal RoboMech. I don't know what to call it. I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but like, not that I don't love that, but it just doesn't fit my collection very well. And I like being like, oh yeah, well, I've got script from Rich Cook. Do you know what I mean? Like I like pulling off the, oh yeah, well, Fawn gave me, because I'm special, some significant tattoo that she would give somebody else. You know what I mean? Like
I have a client with a huge leg that's all black and gray that we've started.
you're like,
And
they get black and gray.
yeah,
You don't
I
get
was
black
like,
and gray.
Funny things about Adam is if we really talk about him as an artist, like let's stop fanboy and girling. And like one of the things about Adam is he's incredibly versatile. There's
Oh, yeah.
probably not a style he hasn't tattooed
Oh,
and
yeah.
tattooed as good or better as anybody else you could
Amen.
name. What does he choose to do though? Daydream.
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's kind of that's why I like to get the non-typical tattoo artist tattoo.
It is kind of like a chance to flex. You know, you know,
Like,
he can
hey.
he can do anything and everything. That's why I love like showing off my pizza seat, because you wouldn't, if you saw all of Adam's work and you saw that, you wouldn't think it was his. But he had a whole flash sheet of Pizza Steve's.
Mhm.
I had to get the one with sunglasses.
Duh.
Really, woo, I just thought of what I wanted to do for your tattoo.
Bring it. Talk about it like a group. Come on.
Good though, because you might tell me no, and I need.
There is no no's. We work through this together. If that is the face you are making about it,
How much room do I have?
about yay much.
All right, so hear me out.
I'm listening.
You know, like think about like a pinup girl, right? Sitting on a waffle, and she's like got like she's like dressed kind of waffle housey. She's like pouring the syrup. We could do more traditional, but keep it really fun.
Oh, you're super
I just wanted to be like, oh, like very classy but sexy Waffle House lady on a
We need to add something, okay? If you're gonna do
butter on the side, like open.
fair.
'Cause you know.
If that's the way you're gonna go with it, but to throw in a Waffle House homage, you gotta have like some well done hash browns on the plate next to the waffle.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
like waffle plate, hash browns.
Listen,
in the
I want to
background.
take it.
Well
Well, I'm
done,
gonna fill that spot. I'm gonna
crispy.
do like the little checks in the back and like make the checks kind of like disappear as my filler.
Yellow and black.
Yeah. I want it to be Waffle Housey, but not like Waffle Housey. But I think if we made like a fun little like pin up with the
It is your world.
Okay.
I am written space. Okay. Okay.
It's
I've
like
been trying to let
my-
it come to
it's
me what
like
we're doing.
my
That's what we're doing.
it's like
favorite
if
thing.
Gil Elfgren, you know, the like pinup painting
yeah.
master, if Gil Elfgren were to draw the stereotypical like lot lizard, that's where we're at.
That's what my brain is thinking.
You gotta have
you know
jorts.
the woman. I
Gotta
Can
have
it-
jorts.
Can it just be Peggy
So-
Hill?
No, the woman that I'm basing it
I
on
mean-
is the Waffle House lady who like flipped the chair back at the person who. That's what I'm basing it on.
Grab in midair.
She like grabbed like, whoa. That's who I'm making it off of. So like I want her to have like tattoos, like she's gonna have a chair tattoo somewhere. It's gonna be really cute. I'm excited for you.
I'm excited for me. My favorite thing is watching an artist get pumped on their own shit. Like if I can give you an outlet to be like, oh my God, this is gonna be fun. Kind of the same thing, like when you like, if I were to approach Adam, it would be the same thing. Like, I want you to do something that you don't normally get to do, that's out of the realm, that's you make that face about, because that means me as a collector, A, I'm going to get a better tattoo. B, it's going to be a more fun experience, and then I'm going to have a unique piece that nobody else has.
Oh yeah, that we're both excited about forever. I want to. Yeah.
Much rather you have that, like,
I tell
about
everyone
it.
that about my like what I want out of tattooing when they're like, wait, no, what's the whole thing? All I want to do is just be able to like smoke weed and draw things that make me giggle all day long. And anything else that falls after that's really cool. But like that's my goal. I just want to make really cool things that we just giggle about and we really like and just do those things very well and just hang out. I have a great space for that. I don't have any like stress or drama here. I can just like hang out and do things that make me giggle and then walk it around everyone and go and everyone else does like very serious, beautiful work here. And I get to just like, look. Like the other day I did a jellyfish that had like a
Okay,
peanut butter
look.
sandwich and then it had the Jif jar.
But that jellyfish was baller as fuck. Can we start there?
Could you pull
Like,
these up, Kyle?
yes, you did a jellyfish,
Did you see the Jif?
but it was baller as fuck. Are you kidding me? Like,
I loved him so much. I actually drew that on with Sharpies. Jeff inspired me. He was like, just draw it. I was like, okay. My friend came in. My favorite part is the mother of my god baby came in to visit me when I was in therapy. She was like, hey, I want a jellyfish because I need some serenity in my life. Like I need something like that's kind of the symbol. She had the symbol. And I said, all right, but hear me out. Is he hungry? Like, can he have a sandwich? And that's all I said. And I wasn't planning anything after that. I was going to give him a Subway sandwich originally. I was like, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I just wanted to have some lunch. And then I was like, wait, what if I do peanut butter? And then if you look, he's like holding and like squishing the jelly on the sandwich. And he's holding his dip. There's intentionally no jelly in that peanut butter sandwich. He's just like really about peanut butter. Like that's
yeah, he's a jelly fish. He need no jelly.
he's so
He
cute.
got it covered.
But she was like, what are we doing? My favorite part about it was like when I freehand stuff on, I'm just getting like a general idea of where things need to land. And it is not like a comp like this. The sketch would make people like, what's that exactly?
Oh, that's a jelly.
So she walks through and I was like, no, she's like gonna go look. And then I'm like, all right, you can get the placement. I was telling her how things are gonna go and like what I was thinking. And then people are like, let me see it, because everyone's being really supportive. And it was my first tattoo that I did there. And they're like, oh, cool. And like none of them have really seen my work or anything. So their faces made me giggle a bunch. And that they kept coming in, they're like, oh, cool. One of them was like, I didn't realize that wasn't an outline earlier. And I was like, oh, good.
Wow.
Sometimes when I'm drawing on my clients like that, because I'll usually go with like a yellow marker and I'll
That's
make
what I
my
did.
grid and then I like build up like light to dark markers.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll just get through like yellow and like a light, super light blue, and I'll be like, I mean, I can keep drawing to show you what this is gonna
But I
be,
know what
but
I
like
mean.
I'm ready to start
Yeah.
if you're cool. Like I can
Yeah.
keep drawing if you want to see it, but like, or I can just tattoo
That's
it
more
and save
why
us
I draw
time.
so much, is for the other person. I don't need to know where those details are gonna lay. I'm already gonna put them
I
in.
like-
I'm already putting them in on my own right now.
I like
I
the
can put them
reveal.
on your body.
I like
Yeah.
the reveal sense of it. The I didn't get to see every detail. Now when you're done, like, oh shit, that's dope. Look at that, look at it. I like getting tattoos I haven't seen.
Yeah.
I
Like
like
hot
walking
take.
and being like, that's what we're doing. Fucking run it.
I'm going way too hard on your leg. More things keep popping in my noggin.
Run it,
I'm really
dude.
excited.
Run it. Run it. You tell me whenever your ideas stop.
I need some time with you soon.
Okay. We can definitely make that happen.
Oh, this is gonna be Waffle House wonderful.
I want her to be so like, you knew exactly what I was looking for with the pinup. You were ready.
Oh, yeah.
You were locked into what I meant.
No,
I'm gonna have
but
a tattoo
also,
right here
like,
of my
if-
girlfriend's name.
But if there was a song playing, it would be Eminem's White Trash Party.
And no shame, because I've just done a lot of Waffle House waitresses' girlfriend's name neck tattoos when I first got started. So that's like always gonna click in my brain for Waffle House waitresses.
Correlation.
It is, it clicks. A lot of their girlfriend's names right here. Cute.
Correlation. What's funny is I still get the where'd you tattoo? You've known me for 9 years now, Waffle House people. I don't.
I always tell people I'm a dentist. It's my favorite. Like when I don't want to talk about it, like, what do you do? And they know what they're waiting for. And I'm like, I'm a dentist. And they're like, whoa, that's crazy. You're the most fun looking dentist I've ever seen. And I'm like, yeah.
I really love having like a 5 or 6 syllable title at my last
Oh, yeah,
job.
that's good.
And people were like, what do you do? And I'd be like, and rattle off,
The assistants, best friends, cousins.
my favorite is just throwing executive in there for no reason. Just good
Executive.
times. So what do you do? Actually,
I'm glad you asked.
looking for my next patient as we speak. No.
So as
Have
soon
you
as,
seen American Mary? Because that's what that sounded like a little bit.
No, I haven't. I'll check that out.
as soon
Mhm.
as I finish this thing that I'm building over here,
Oh,
we'll pull up the footage from the Tattoo Collectors Expo last
Ooh.
weekend.
It's just about the collectors.
Yeah, well,
Fuck you guys.
you,
Oh wait, I'm the collector.
yeah,
No, I'm not the artists. It's
It's you,
about
bro.
the collector.
oh, you got it? I was just gonna stand up and hit
So
play.
what else
but
did you do while you were in Indy?
So outside of just being spoiled the whole time and hanging out with chickens and like eating veggies and stuff from his cool greenhouse that he showed us kind of like ish. Got to go in there. We hung out and picked green beans and squash and zucchini, and I picked some
There we go.
tomatoes and
You're
some
doing fine.
eggs from the coop.
Thank you.
I got to do like
Thank you,
fun
thank you.
magic things with my eggs. Love that.
Mm.
Yeah, and then when I got there, if you are visiting there, even if you don't, I have a lot of clients in Indiana, but I could comfortably go without making any appointments and
Just
be
kick it.
set. Like he had walk-ins the whole time. Like it was pretty consistent. So having some clients to get there is great, but I would have been able to be just fine, like on a spot. And then I got spoiled by having the cabin to myself. I didn't have to pay for that. They just like gave me this whole cabin with snacks in it that I tore up in snacks. I was like, don't, next time don't put them in here because I feel bad because they're gone. He left stuff for s'mores. I didn't even make s'mores. Where's the chocolate?
Hey,
I don't know, dog. Gone. I was like, I'm sorry. I tore it up. He was like, it's cool. I have more snacks. I was like, do not,
don't do it.
please. We
So-
smoked too much and then just had too many snacks in there.
I don't know if Chris has shared any pictures or anything online, but I've been on FaceTime with him where he was walking through his guest house.
Yeah, I was
and
there
he's
with
got
you.
like
yeah.
tattoo memorabilia.
Yeah, it
and-
was so cool. He has all of the posters in there, like the Indie Expo posters,
Mhm.
and then like some cool flash. And his plan is for guest artists to start bringing or making like while they're there, a piece of artwork to hang in the guest house. So then it's like part of it's like, I want to stay there, but also I want my art hanging in there. And then when people come to visit, they can see all the different artists that come through in therapy. And that's really cool. So it's set up beautifully in there. It felt like a little house. I didn't want to leave. I was like, next time I'm gonna make a little bit longer of a trip. It's kind of nice.
You know, one of the
And
things
you're out in
I
the middle of nowhere. There's like trails you can go hike on. And it's just like you're by yourself, but also close enough. I'm a baby and sometimes the woods make sounds. And I was close enough that I could run over to Chris' house like if there was an issue. Like I'm not but like far enough
She
away.
said sometimes the woods make sounds.
I need some help sometimes because it's scary out there.
To live in them, it's
I-
okay.
listen, We'll talk about it later.
Yes.
All right. Don't be scared of his woods, but also be cautious. It makes sounds.
one of the things I love about Chris is that he's like, not only is like he like a tattoo history buff, but like you said, he wants the artists that stay there to make pieces of art.
Yes.
It's not like he's only a history buff, but he's actively trying to capture history as it's
Yeah,
happening and
it's
preserve
beautiful.
it. And a lot of people don't think like that. Like we look at like Derb's bookshelf and Derb's collection of things. And, you know, if he was, I mean, he could probably put a really rad history show together
Yeah.
just off of his things. But Chris is like not only a collector of these things, but he's also an advocate of like learning tattoo history and learning where we came from. Because there's a lot of people like me, I didn't do an apprenticeship, and there are people that either didn't do an apprenticeship or did an apprenticeship with somebody who didn't teach them the history and didn't teach them the community of this and like the underlying like connection and brotherhood that we've all had all along. That's why I think it's important to learn the history. I don't think it's important to necessarily learn the history of every single industry, but because of the heart and the connection in tattooing, that's where the history is so special. Because like,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for somebody like Marty Holcomb tattooing sunset since 1972, there wouldn't even be a lane for me to do it.
I was talking about that the other day where I was like, it's really weird to think about, you know, everyone's like, oh man, all the artists these days are just getting good so fast. It's because of who's teaching us and who's around us. And the fact that here, if you look at my work from before I got here, look at my work when I got here, it's pretty crazy to see all of the change that was made, because now when I have a question, I can just go,
You have an
hey,
answer. You can get an answer.
anybody, endless, everybody, you know, and I can go, hey man, kind of having this going on, or hey, I was thinking about this, I'm kind of trying to work on this. And I have so many different point of views from people who've been doing this so long, and the people who taught them, you know, like
Right.
they gave them that pathway that made it easy for them to do that. Like I need to know those things. And I didn't, like you said, I didn't have access to that information. Conventions were the way that I got to start to learn that. And then being here talking with you guys.
I mean, I could tell you like some of the tattoo history in the town that I came up in. Like I could
Yeah.
tell you like the whole handful of artists who tattooed before me and who taught who, and like,
Right.
but it's pretty easy to trace the lineage back to 1991.
Mhm.
You know, like before that, there really wasn't a tattooing scene in that area, so to
Right.
speak. So to know, like, you know, at that point, each state might have only had a handful of tattooers, you know, where now each small town has a handful of tattooers and each big city has hundreds of tattooers.
So when I managed the street shop, we're here in Columbus. My first day, walked in and got the do you know who Stoney Sinclair is? Kind of like, oh, I see you're wearing an AC/DC shirt. Name 5 songs type of moment.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I was like, yeah, like I mean, like I know who he is, but he was like, wrong answer. And they gave me the Stoney Knows book, and we're like, go in the back and read the book until someone gets you. No one got me. My first day ever working at a tattoo studio, I read that book like 500 times.
And it's funny that Ben
like-
mentions Stoney because Stoney taught Marty, who, you know, if we talk about like,
Stoney taught
tattoo
Marty, who
lineage.
taught Marty, who taught Kevin, who taught my original tattooer, Wes. Oh, there's a Tim in there somewhere, and I'm sorry if I'm screwing up the lineage, because Tim also worked with Derb, where that connects my original tattoo artist and Derb down through the same lineage. And that's what's really, really super fucking cool, especially about Columbus. If you know your roots, you can trace 90% out of names in Columbus back through one of those 5 people that I just said.
yep, and then
And
that
back
is
to Stoney.
exactly why, like those people are exactly why the scene in Columbus has grown the way that
Right.
it has. It's like, you know, a grandfather that has a prolific amount of grandchildren and then great grandchildren. And the expectations are also high because there is that like historic lineage and you've got to make proud those that came before you, you know,
Well,
it's
we all
a
talk
special
about
thing.
Joey Knuckles. How many shops does he own now? 3,005. He is the tattoo buff in
He's the
Columbus.
tattoo
He's
shop
the tattoo
collector.
history buff in
Yeah.
Columbus. Again, linked through Dan Wesley, linked back to Stoney, just from a handful of generations. So it's really cool for me to just sit back and kind of take it all the way back, because I can do that with the majority of people I know and who I've collected from. So
But like as a collector, you can sit and look at this art that you love and you can see like all of the artists that have worked on you for the most part, all of their lineage streams right back to that same like family tree, if you will, but all the work on you is so different. You know, I don't know, I guess maybe you could throw me in that lineage as well. I've worked with Marty and Derb for a long time now, so if that counts, like,
absolutely,
you know, I'm
but
still
that's-
learning and still
that's how
growing.
it works. You never stop learning. That's worked with. You never stop learning on anything, and I feel like influences are a lot more available nowadays,
Mhm.
with the social media and the access to the infinite images on the interwebs, where in comparison to 30 fucking years ago, when you had to have seen insert landscape here and have a reference photo to be able to be like, hey, this is the landscape that I want. Now you just Google it, boop, 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 and the image comes up, the homework is done. Where back in the day, that's not how it was. Like,
Mhm.
so to watch the art develop and how the art is passed, like how whip shading's done and how, oh, well, this is when they started blending these colors is because of this person's influence. And yeah, there was only 6 colors then. And you can tell that now when they started influencing interjecting these new colors, how it completely changed the influence of the art. And from this point on to this point, now it's been able to grow in this direction. Like, I like watching
Look
it.
at you getting excited.
It's
Look
cool.
at you getting excited. It's
Lineage
funny.
is one of the cool things I get. Like, it makes sense to me. And I'm kind of proud of.
Yeah, when we talk about building our designs with pride, there's this thing that happens. Like, obviously, I do a lot of nature stuff. I also do like a lot of things where I'll pull several nature photos together and I'll build a landscape out of those. Like, you know, sometimes it's freehand, sometimes I lay it out ahead of time. But one of the challenges is when somebody's like, I would like this kind of landscape, and then I can just like pick out like what scenery they're imagining. And then if I have my own photo to work with, then it's still 100% original. I'm not counting on some other photographer that I don't know. Sometimes I have to,
Right.
but like when I happen to be like, oh no, I remember this trip up to Cuyahoga and I can pull down the perfect rock formation and waterfall and the way these light rays were breaking down the tree. Hold on, I don't organize my photos. This is going to take a minute.
But then you get to pull up that reference and think about all of the landscapes that Marty has done ahead of you, and you get to use his groundbreaking work in the very beginning of how to lay light and color and shadow and all that stuff
Mhm.
in what you're doing with your new reference. That information wasn't available like that unless you had learned it directly from a fucking person
Mhm.
10-15 years ago. So like, I think we take our lack of lineage now for granted because the Google has become where our references come from.
You know, while we're
Not
talking about it,
art.
and since Marty's come up a few times in conversation already, I feel like one of the things that would be cool to talk about is how Marty's been tattooing since 72, right? Is that right?
I believe.
Okay, we're gonna say 72. I'm pretty sure that's right. So
Just say early 70s in case we're wrong.
back in the early 70s, what kind of tattoos were being done? You had American traditional, you had Japanese traditional, and you had like, you know, I guess flowers and banners and things like that are
I
gonna be in
consider that
the American traditional.
Yeah.
So basically what you had, what everybody was being taught was you put the outline in, a third black, a third color, and then let that skin breathe. They had 6 colors to work with. And the needles were all like hand soldered, so they were very inconsistent. They were using the same needles, they were sterilizing them, using them over and over again. So knowing that, the needle quality wasn't what it is today, you know the lines are going to get thick. So the tattooers in that day had to make everything very simplified. It's almost like thinking like a graphic designer. Like you don't draw every detail of the skull, you draw the most important details of the skull. You draw the most important lines of the skull so that if somebody's across the room, they can identify that it's a skull. And in doing things bold like that, you know that they're going to stay on the test of time. You know that they're going to travel well. You know they're going to wear well. You know they're going to hold up to the sunlight. And then the idea of just doing black in those simple colors, I mean, that is all that was available. But in knowing how much black to use, you knew how not to make something that was going to like wash out into a smudge.
Right.
So then along comes Marty Holcomb.
He's like, fuck you.
He's like, oh no, I can do this like a painting. I can just outline it and color it beautifully and build contrast, and I can mix
Layers.
colors and I can apply color theory like a painter. And I'm not saying he was the only person that thought like that, but he made a movement for himself. There are people that got tattooed by Marty years ago and they're still proud of it and they
Right.
still show it off, and you can still tell it's Marty Holcomb work because there wasn't anybody else tattooing like that then.
A couple
Like, you could
jobs back,
see-
I had an early Marty Holcomb collector as a boss. So it was really cool. And I'm talking, it goes that way. I don't know who, but that way. He had 2 rib panels, half sleeves, back, like a lot of Marty work. And it was one of the very few times you got to see that much work in the wild,
Oh, here we go.
You
Thanks,
know?
Kyle.
because color saturation like that just wasn't done like that in the 70s.
Nope.
Like, so
Nope.
to even see like the early 90s stuff where he was pushing the color gradient and pushing like the use of black behind
You know,
colors.
one of the
and,
things that
like,
I love
nuts.
there, if you look at that top fish, I love the way he just slams those like oranges and yellows next to those purples, and somehow it doesn't get muddy. That's the magic in Marty, and that's just because he just knows what he's doing. He's a wizard. I see the colors he works with. So build something like this with like 4 colors on his palette. I'll
Ah,
see like
ah.
hot pink, and I'll be like, you don't even have a pink out. Where did that come from?
He
It's
just
just like he
smiles.
makes hot pink out of like purple, turquoise, and yellow. It's
He just smiles. Yes, you're right.
you Merlined that in there. Yes, you did. But it's really special to be able to work around Marty because, you know, we see his work now and, you know, the things that we're capable of with the equipment that we have and the colors that we have. Tattoos look like this a dime a dozen, but his work that's 20 years old and 30 years old looks
looks
just
like this.
like this. And it has these amazing unlimited palettes, just like the stuff he's doing now.
He was the first person that I watched like gradient a color in like a spectrum on a tattoo.
Uh-huh.
And it was one of those like, I didn't know you could blend. I know blendy was a thing. And he was killing that. So
Yep.
sorry, accidental Marty Holcomb fan club.
Hey, we can. Marty deserves it.
I was at the Magical Druid the other day and with Ananda, and someone said, where do you work? And I said, Red Tree. And they said, oh, Marty Holcomb. And I said, yeah. And they said, yeah, my dad has work from him or whatever. And then he's like, yeah, I would really like to come in. I was like, you need to come and just look at all the artwork we have of his hanging up on the walls. And
Mhm.
so I think he's gonna come here soon just to like do the
You-
same thing fangirl about Marty. I was like, you need to come see this stuff. It's crazy.
You want to talk about the most nerve-wracking day ever worked at Red Tree for Ben Thomas? Was the day they were like, hey, you're gonna hang Marty's art on the wall today. And I just went, no. That's the only thing I was like, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I dropped an original Marty down the stairs. I'm gonna cry.
Oh, I thought you said you did. I was like,
If
I was like, you quit it.
but that's what they said. They were like, hey, hang your ladder
I
over
have
the
to go
side of
start
these
tattooing now,
steps. And
friends.
Well, thanks for joining
He's-
us.
he's built my new arm rest. So
bah, she
Aw,
did his part.
hey,
When's your birthday?
August 23rd. I'm invited to my party.
Yeah,
Send you beats.
parties.
Mhm.
Give me all them deets.
you want to join us with a microphone in case you want to join the conversation?
No.
Yeah. So when we just like casually mention that like we work with Marty Holcomb and
It's kind of
he's
a big deal.
upstairs and like it really is a big deal.
I remember being tattooed at Hell City and Rich Cook stopped mid stroke and was like, that's motherfucking Marty Holcomb. And like, I didn't know then, you know what I mean? Super early in my collecting years. And like, he stopped what he was doing to stand and like shake his hand and be like, hi, sir, how, love you, hero, hi.
And Marty just smiled
Just-
and was like,
Hey, glad you guys are doing tattoos. When at the time he was doing the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde piece that I have that is big swatches of like oranges and purples and very up his alley, you
Yep.
know. And it was pretty cool. It's pretty cool, man. But that's how I got to meet the wizard.
the wizard. So we've got Sarah joining us over here. She's
What?
got a new addition to her household in this little box. She'll be taken home with her. So
It's a rat if you get done. That's part of it.
not last weekend, but weekend before, I had the chance to go down to Dallas to the Tattoo Collectors Expo.
Yes.
So I was thinking maybe if Kyle wanted to pull up that Instagram and maybe we could talk about some of the pictures and stuff that they've been sharing. One of the things we've been kind of mentioning over the last few weeks is that I feel like it's more helpful to do our recaps, not the following Thursday, but the next Thursday, because then all the professional photographers that have been at the show have had a chance to get photos in. The show promoters have had a chance to do their recap. So I feel like we just have more material to share if we wait a few more days.
Concur.
So it's one of those, like, the solution to better content is just wait a moment.
Just hold on.
Yeah. Yeah, it's already passed and we got a whole year to talk about it.
Same.
So if we go not the following weekend, but the next, we have a little bit more to talk about and work with.
Oh, look at the anglerfish.
It really was a great show. I don't know if I specifically saw this piece or not. There, you know how, remember months ago when I was like, I want to challenge all artists working at conventions to actually set up so people can see what you're working on? Because like, why go through all this if you're gonna hide in the corner?
Yeah.
Just like turn the other way around so people can see what's up.
Was
'Cause, like,
everybody hitting the corner?
if I can see what's up, I can like video it and share it and get your name out there and like do the things, you know?
Was this another one of the shows where everyone was hitting the corner?
Not everyone, but
But yeah.
yeah, not
start-
everyone.
Just start
But there were a
throwing
lot of
shoots.
people that were really, really like showing their work off and did set up to show it off, set up in such a way that they could work and talk to people at the same time. And I'm like, this is what it should be like. This is what you should prepare yourself for if you're working at a show. And that's not me as a tattooer saying that. That's me as like a tattoo convention enthusiast. That's me as a collector who's potentially looking for new artists I'd want to work on me and look up to. And
I say we just start calling people on it. I'd love to see your tattoo, but
Your shoulders. nice
I
t-shirt.
don't know why I just yelled into the microphone. But
Well, your microphone's over there, but you do have a bellowy voice.
you know, man.
Hmm.
You know, man.
Yalzi was one of the judges all weekend.
Oh yeah. I haven't seen him in a while. Is he doing good?
He seemed like he was doing good. He was nothing but smiles all weekend. I definitely enjoy somebody that just loves to sit and watch the crowd as much as I do. And it was kind of cool there because he, you know, there were definitely people that knew him, but there were a lot of people that didn't know him. So he could really just sit there and observe. Like,
Right.
and you know, a few years ago, Yalzi really stood out of the crowd with all of his face tattoos, like once he took that leap. But nowadays, like, if you tattoo your face tatted,
Right.
so like, even though at one point he was instantly recognized because of his face tattoos, now it's just, oh, there's another guy with face
And a
tattoos.
lot more commonplace.
But Yalzi's awesome. What does he put on the Puerto Rican convention?
I am not sure. I know
But
he
he
does.
is
one. I don't know if he's right.
A wonderful tattoo collecting enthusiast. I think he's on like the third layer of his bodysuit. It's mostly black and gray, but there's more color peeking out now.
Yes. third layer of his bodysuit.
Yeah, like where, stuff that's been covered, colored, recolored. Just doesn't stop. That's when our goal is once we're complete, we're complete. I am leaving a portion of my leg open just to collect smaller pieces. But I don't think I'd do a second layer. I really don't see my collection
No.
being like that. It's been a few years since my back has been finished. I'd love to get with Russ and just do like hey, you want to look this over and resaturate anything and everything and nitpick it so I never have to get beat up like this again?
That's fair.
But it's not like I would be like covering or like reworking the whole thing. Just like, you want to just once over this?
I have saved touch-ups for a tattoo retire. Unless something like completely fell out or like is really, really, really poor, I try to just kind of save them because I think that once my bodysuit or whatever we're calling it is done and I'm not getting like big pieces anymore, that's gonna kind of be the connection still. Hey, rework this.
Mhm.
Hey, redo your tattoo.
Yeah.
Because I'm with you. I don't know if I want to. It was hard enough to come up with this many ideas. I don't want to do it again.
All right, you ready for me to throw some footage on here, Kyle?
Roll that beautiful bean footage.
There we go.
That's actually a pretty good intro. Slid right in there.
Slid right in.
Where was this? I know it's Texas, but San Antonio?
Dallas,
Dallas, the big one.
Dallas,
Wait,
Fort
it's
Worth.
Texas.
We were like tucked in between all the other like stadiums and athletic venues. I
Nice.
believe where we were, there was some kind of sport ball that happened in one of the other corridors. I don't know. I should probably pay attention to sport ball things because like people, that's important to people sometimes.
I almost get offended when people think I care. Does that make sense? Oh yeah, did you catch the game? What fucking game are you talking about?
Which one?
There's like 13. Oh, you're talking about the other sport. I don't even know what that is. Is that a goal? Yeah, I don't yeah, my care level is pretty low for the balls of sports.
There were really a lot of tattooers that were working on 2 and 3 day projects at this show. You know how like they say, we came to show out. These guys all really did. Like, I mean, I know at Hell City, the awards are very prestigious and I feel like the awards were a huge motivation to this show, where at other shows, it's just kind of part of it. But like, you could tell everybody was competing. Everybody was really pressing their skill sets, pressing like the limits of what could be done. Oh, sweet baby Jesus. I mean, Kyle.
God. I don't know. I think I like the big 3-day pieces, don't get me wrong, but it kind of takes away from the first 2 days. Because if everybody's getting 3-day pieces, you don't really get the cool tattoos of the day.
That's
And
fair.
people just assume they're going to stretch it all 3 days instead of
And then best
really
of show. I
pushing.
can't believe how big the best of show categories have gotten. It used to be only a few people would line up, but now like everybody hangs out all weekend and waits to enter their stuff, get it shown off, get it photographed. You know, that's another thing we don't talk about a lot with these tattoo competitions. Like if you care about getting your work photographed and potentially getting it published, that's a really huge benefit to being in tattoo competitions.
Yep.
Because the photographers are usually right there at the end of the stage getting a photo of everybody. And then the award winners, usually they do like full body shots or maybe, whatever you're comfortable with. But usually they get some nice photos that are like publishable. So like if you want your work, if you want to like make a splash for your artists, competitions like this are really the way to do it. I watched this piece evolve all day. Wait till you see how far they get with it.
I think we should start doing a tattoo journal booth.
That could be like just an addition to our little area that we have. It shows a tattoo journal where you get to like get
This
the
tattoo.
photograph or
This tattoo, not like your whole collection. So a lot of people have extremely sentimental tattoos.
photograph it, but then put the story next to it.
So this tattoo was for my great grandfather who was on this ship, and in his time he did or this is for my dead dog, or this is,
You know,
you know what I mean?
That would
Like,
be really cool because like a lot of the landscapes and stuff that I do, like as I'm talking to a person and I'm pulling the story out, like sometimes we'll end up doing like, oh, this is a lake we went to, like you were saying, every summer with my grandfather, and this
Yeah.
is like the shape of the boat that he
this is
had.
where we
And
did the body.
this was my grandmother's favorite flower, and this tree was this and that. And like, you'll see that like, yeah, it looks just like a picture. It looks like any other landscape that Bob Ross could have Bob Rossed away. But in reality, it was like a snapshot of a whole story for them, like a whole.
Have you heard the theory that all of Bob Ross's paintings are
Mhm.
actually just a pathway to where he hit a body?
I didn't hear that. I heard that it was a journey, but I didn't hear
it's
to
journey to where
hide
the
a body.
bodies are hidden. Sergeant Slaughter.
Jeez, Ben.
You think the rock was
No. Probably not. No, I think just that there's a lot of room for opening another medium that way and allowing people to write about their own sentiment.
That would be really cool.
It's one of those things like, have you ever
People like telling the story behind their tattoos also.
Well, have you ever written something for release without the intention of it even ever being read? So to have that like space to publicly but privately say something about
Yeah.
what something can mean or can't mean, and either or let something go, or
Yeah.
get your feels on the paper.
You know, it's funny, we've got Sarah sitting with us, and this is my sister. She has a large land before time piece that we're working on. And basically we started at her ribs and we're working our way down to her foot. But when we finish, it's going to be the story chronologically from her foot all the way up, like the whole, you know, the major points of the storyline, if you will. If we were looking at a storyboard, it's basically what we're doing. But when we were talking about these ideas, Sarah wanted, like, the idea just kept getting bigger and bigger. And in this conversation, I think she was only like 16 or 17. You weren't very old. But I was like, is this something you're going to watch with your kids and grandkids? Like, if so, okay. But like, if not.
Do you own a VHS copy? Okay, then sold. You can do whatever you want.
Yes, I do have a VCR player to watch it. But no, at first I was like, oh, well, I'll just get a little like Sarah tattoo. I was like, yeah, okay. And I was like, let's do a sleeve. She's like, yeah, that'd be cool. And I keep picking out so many ideas. And she's like, Sarah, your arm's only so big. I was like, but I want them all. So what if we did like a half body sleeve? And she's like, okay. And she asked me that question without hesitation. Yep. And she's like, okay, let's do
Done.
it.
Done.
But The Land Before Time, like, I grew up watching it. Sarah grew up watching it, but it wasn't until I was an adult that I understood like the darker meaning behind it.
Oh, there's
like
a darker meaning.
Oh yeah.
I fly. I fly.
Yeah, Peter Pan
Oh.
type. Mhm.
You fall. So hit me with it. I don't know. What's the?
So what is
Is
it?
the dark side?
And it was supposed to be
Steven Spielberg.
Steven Spielberg. So it was supposed to be children who were trying to get to, you know, their happy place, their utopia, but they died and never made it. So the Great Valley is actually like heaven. That's why they never get older.
Fuck off.
Tell him Peter Pan. You know the Peter Pan theory, right?
No. Why are you ruining things?
Okay, we won't ruin things.
No,
We'll
I
save
want
that
to
for the
know,
next
but like, why
recap.
didn't anybody tell me this?
The Lost Boys are children that have died. They also don't get any older. Peter Pan is actually like taking them to heaven or the land of the Lost Boys.
So Peter
And
Pan's just a
Captain
reaper.
Captain Hook is actually trying to save the children from Peter Pan. Is the reverse theory of it. Mind blown. Sorry, Ben, I thought you knew.
You guys are fuckers.
Well, I can't help it. I'm not the one that wrote these
I want to
sagas.
watch an opposite perspective Peter Pan now.
Watch Hook.
Hook isn't.
It's Robin Williams, but it's
Yeah, but
still,
Hook isn't opposite perspective. It's just later date.
but you could watch it with this theory in mind, kind of like the King of the Hill theory.
Wait, what King of the Hill theory?
With
I don't
Peggy.
know that.
Oh
one.
yeah. Oh, I know that one. Oh, Peggy. The reason Bobby is kind of Bobby-esque and not very Hank-esque is because he's Dale's kid. Or not Dale, but
Bill.
Bill's. So Bill and Peggy had a fling because Hank's narrow urethra, right? And
On the count.
Bobby, right?
Yeah.
That's why Hank's always like, oh, and he's not really very Hank-like because Hank's all super athletic and Bobby's like,
Sorry for the
Yeah.
shaky camera work. That was a
That's
rough little
funny. No,
segment.
I didn't know that one.
that's why he's so obsessed. That's why Bill won't leave the neighborhood. That's why every time Hank does something, Bill's like, I got you, Peggy. And then, uh-huh,
That's great.
uh-huh, uh-huh.
Done a lot of not talking about the expo, but
Sorry.
this footage is really good. I'm kind of proud of my
I'm proud of
camera
you.
work this time. Trying to be more like considerate and less shaky. It's a little choppy streaming through Zoom.
It looks
But-
good though.
Yeah, before we went live, I was telling Kyle that on the Tattoo Weekly, we'll be playing around with some different streaming software. So in the very near future, we're gonna have a little upgrade in show quality. So I can't wait to share those new changes with you guys. We'll talk about that a little bit later on though. Look at all these pieces.
A lot of big work happening.
Look at this sternum piece.
So fun.
Not even moving. She's doing so good.
It's 2006. You're sitting at Easy Rider, right? How many tattoos were larger than a softball then?
Not very many. It was like rare if you saw somebody that had a back piece. And if they had a back piece, it came up like 6 inches above their belt line and was like a rectangle.
Squared
It didn't
in.
touch any of their ribs.
Well, more of like we're looking at these humongous pieces getting done at a convention where like 2006, you go to a convention, you left with
A
a,
little
a
piece.
$50
Yeah.
size something, and we're pumped. Like it's just crazy to think how much the game's changed in 20 years. God, I sound fucking old.
Look at this beautiful flame that she was making. I had to get in close on it. There's a lot of wonderful black and gray work, but there was some amazing neo trad going on. I just love watching other people tattoo. Do you still enjoy watching people get tattooed, Ben?
I love it.
You like watching it happen
Mhm.
even when it's not you? Do you still like watching people get tattooed or are you kind of over it?
No, I like it.
I still love watching people
Yeah,
get
I know.
tattooed. This one, I think this might have been one of the best of show. It's either best of day or best of show. This one definitely won awards, though. Turned out beautiful.
Fun.
What?
Why didn't you bring me back tie-dye, bro?
I didn't know you felt that way about tie-dye.
I thought we were friends.
Next time I'll bring you back tie-dye. You're gonna get tie-dye.
Bring it in a size 5T.
Perfect. Deal. Pink, heavy on the pinks and purples.
She loves the tie-dye. 1996 tattoo. Is that the year that these people were born?
You know, it might have been. I know Youngin's born in that year.
He's got gray in his beard. He ain't that baby.
Yeah, that's true.
96. I mean, that's not. When were you born? 91?
96.
Kyle, what year were you
Babies,
born?
like I said.
99.
99, 96.
Kyle,
Okay,
you were
cool.
born the year I started high school.
I'm used to being the youngest one.
Well, Kyle's a baby. That doesn't really
I didn't-
count. Yeah, baby. Just out of breeches. If they weren't tucked back in the corner, it's almost like you can see what they were doing.
She's doing eyebrows.
I just
I got the banner.
she's doing attitude glares is what she's doing.
No, I don't think these two girls were particularly hiding. It just kind of depend on what they were working on.
I was thinking about getting lip blush. Darken me down a little bit. I like that shirt.
Hmm.
Is this just like your own personal commitment or just to like to the world, like stop getting shitty tattoos?
Yeah.
I mean, either way, but like,
Friends don't let friends.
yet we've got, you know, chain tattoo studios here in town that I wouldn't send an enemy to, that get all kinds of love. I don't understand it.
Well, you know,
Everybody starts somewhere, I
everybody
guess.
does start somewhere, and you know, as long as the client has a great experience, enjoyed their experience, and they're proud of their tattoo, that artist covered all the bases.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say that 98% of the time, none of those things happen. But I hear you.
I'm just trying to be devil's advocate, Ben.
And I
Shooting me
mean,
down, shooting me down.
there
At
are
a time.
there
I
are
never
wizards
could
in
get
every
tattooed by two
station.
people on two different body parts like that. I had two people work on my leg. I've had two people work on my chest. I don't know if I could do like cap and a upper arm.
Oh, look at Amanita. I still kind of want to get the anesthesia tattoos. Be like,
You want to do that? You want to put your heart through that?
fuck.
I saw
Yes.
on the grams. I
This
believe
guy
it was
made it
tight.
through 2005. He can
got-
make it through some anesthesia.
Got his back done.
Be good. Knock me the fuck out. Wake up tatted.
Would you be put under to get tattooed?
You know, if I had multiple people working on me, I think I would go for it.
Yeah? I
Yeah,
don't know.
Line them up.
I don't think I'd want to put my heart through that.
especially the
think
way
it'd be
I
worth
want
it.
like my chest and stomach done.
I'm just saying, I think I've done heart conditioning my whole life, right? You know what I mean?
Heart conditioning.
Yeah, I put it through some abuse to make sure it's strong.
I hear
So
ya,
I'm-
but
Anesthesia is like the least of its troubles. And it's
Let's-
like, bring it the fuck on.
There's Nico. We hung out with him a little bit in Pittsburgh. It's where, I mean, I've kind of been following his work, but I got to know him a little bit, you know, as a character in Pittsburgh. He's cool. I like talking to him. He's incredibly just, you know, chill. I love when I meet new artists and they're just like, oh, they're just a chill guy. Good. Way to be chill. Way to be rad and chill all at the same time.
I'm not gonna say I don't understand the clout, but like sometimes I don't understand the clout.
I mean,
I get tattooers of the rock stars of the rock stars. But like
I don't feel like it.
I feel like sometimes
Nerds. It's like the most glorified nerds. And if we just own up to the fact that we're just nerds, to spend a lot of time being weird and by ourselves when we were little, well, takes the need to like peacock and takes it all out of it. It's like, oh no, oh, beautiful tattoo work. I see all of those tricks that you figured out, nerd. Like that's immediately where my mind goes.
right.
Like, but out of the
is that deep
out of
down
the
why
we're
I
the
just
same.
I'm not good at art? Is that eventually I'm like, this makes me a nerd.
Maybe.
Was my cool level so high
Cool.
that I just can't allow it.
You're not cute or too cute. Too
Cool
cute.
to art. It's more that my focus only lasts 48 seconds, but yeah.
48 seconds.
Mm-hmm. I mean, even the hobbies I've had forever, I'm still not great at. Like, my focus level pretty low.
There were only a few vendors there that weren't like necessarily tattoo related, but they were rad. There was the hot sauce guy that like dances and like smooth talks you into buying hot sauce. It's great.
Sounds dangerous.
It was right across from where we posted up stations.
Was the sauce at least good?
Huh?
Was the sauce at least good?
Yeah, mango habanero.
Did you bring me home any?
Well, here's what had happened.
What the fuck?
We were
Yeah.
gonna bring it back. And then
Mhm.
me being a light packer, I'm like, I just have my backpack and I'm not checking anything. And then Lauren was like, you know, if I don't check my bag, that'll save us time. And because we had a connecting flight.
So you just ate it all?
No, we gave it to our Uber driver.
Aw.
So
So
the Uber driver's more important than me. That's what I
she
heard.
was cool though.
That's what I just heard.
Look, she rolls up.
Fuck you, Ben.
She rolls up to take us to the airport, which is like half hour from Alonzo's shop. So, you know, it's a little bit of a ride, but not that big of a deal with air conditioning and things like that. However, said Ford Focus that rolled up to pick us up did not have air conditioning. As soon as we opened the doors, the first thing she said, she greeted us warmly, and she was like, "Hey y'all, I don't got no air conditioner. If you want to call another Uber, that's all right with me. I totally understand." And we're like, we don't really have time to call and wait for another Uber. It'll be
She
okay.
banging on that.
Well,
That's why she showed up 3 minutes late.
and she was prompt.
She's
She was
silly.
prompt. But like probably the raddest Uber ride I've had, other than just like sweating profusely the whole way. It was the best conversation. She was entertaining. Her music taste was all over the place. She kept saying, "My daughter got a hold of my playlist." We're like, mm-hmm. But anyways,
My Uber driver, when I was stuck in North Carolina, got me high as fuck.
no, this was, she honestly
Stars.
She
probably,
wasn't actually an Uber
I'm
driver.
sorry.
she probably would. If I would have still had my dreadlocks and she
Right.
could have pulled that out on a for sure,
Well-
she probably would have.
To be fair, this particular individual did not represent the great company of Uber. These were independent shuttles,
This lady
but
was
my
great.
shuttle independent driver of their own vehicle got me blasted.
She was a black lady, but she was singing along to like My Chemical Romance. She was
Love.
listening to like early 2000s emo. And those were the songs where she's like, "My daughter put these on my playlist." And I'm like, "I can't help but
That's
notice
why
you
you
know
know
every word."
every word. She hangs out with her kid a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh, that's
must be
sick.
so. Showed this earlier. This really was a beautiful piece that I watched Evolve all weekend. Later on, we'll see him working on the chest as well.
That sounds like torture.
I mean, it looks beautiful. This guy was
does.
sitting very calmly and chill the whole time. Pretty impressive.
With all the new technologies and updated equipment and stuff, like the tattoos are getting less and less painful and more precise. It's should have waited. If only I would have waited to my 40s to start getting tattooed. The availability of awesomeness. All right, fine. Let's find a laser place. Let's start over. Just
No,
me,
we-
not you. You're good.
I like my stuff.
I like 99.8% of my stuff.
Well, that's not starting all over then.
Well, just because I like it doesn't mean I wouldn't put something cooler over top of it.
Oh,
It's lived its life.
it's lived its
I
life.
got 20+ year old tattoos. It's cool. We can.
That's fair, I suppose. Look at these doggos. I was like, "Are they real service dogs?" He was like, "Yeah." I was like, "All right, I won't ask to pet them." But they were baby dolls. They were so well behaved. They just sat there and chilled the whole weekend.
Well, that's because they were real service dogs. I'm
Mhm.
sorry. If you're one of those fucks that just slaps a service dog sticker on your dog's vest and just so you can take your dog everywhere, you're kind of a piece of shit and ruining it for everybody. Just throwing it out there.
You know how awesome my dog is in a small group
It's like
or on like
that.
one-on-one. She is incredibly great. But if I were to put like a service dog thing on her, she would be overwhelmed by the crowd and she would not be happy. Like she is a happy-go-lucky dog. But if you ever have the opportunity, like if we're at a park and there's too many people that are strangers, she just like sad dogs and
Yep.
loses her shine. Like
I'm just saying, if you're in the local hardware store and your service dog is getting in a fight with somebody else's service dog, they're not service dog. Get the fuck out of the hardware store.
that's fair.
Like, that's my only point. I shouldn't have to defend myself at Home Depot.
Home dip it.
Ooh. Oh, make it alone.
We get some good shots of what's going in here later. This back piece was wonderful, the way it's all coming
Is that
together.
Scream?
Oh, it's all different
Oh, I
horror
see it
characters.
now,
It
I
was
see it
Scream
now.
and Chucky, Freddy, Jason. 3D printer. These things sold like stinking hotcakes.
Oh, I'm sure.
You know how a little bit ago I said there weren't that many things that weren't tattoo related. The things that weren't tattoo related were like this or fudge or like snacks.
Lily has a bunch of the
I'd love to
One
see more
piece
fudge
3D
and
stuff.
snacks at tattoo shows.
I
Like,
just
give me
want
that good
snacks.
homemade sugar
Just
while
want
I'm getting
snacks.
work done. Yeah,
Yeah.
comfort food, comfort snacks.
I don't understand why there's not more food vendors.
So this place
At
had a
conventions.
concession stand, like, you know, because
Yeah.
it was one of the sport ball venues. And I have to be honest, everything there was like modestly priced. Like, I'm gonna say the nachos, I think, for $12, which is good for a place like that. For the amount of food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's a
like
lot
a
for
wrap, I
nachos.
think was 10 or
That's not
8,
bad.
not bad. But it was delightfully mediocre. Like, I expected it to be bad, and it was like, oh, I would order this on purpose.
Yeah.
Not bad at
Yeah.
all. So it was kind of nice that there were good food choices right there. They did have pop, water. They did have alcohol, but everything, I don't know about the alcohol, but the pop and all of that was like reasonably priced.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of nice to see that, because sometimes the concessions, or like you'll see like a hotel, for instance, won't allow concessions in, and it
Right.
has to be their food, and it's so
They're like,
expensive.
here, give me
and poor
$5
quality.
for a bottle of water.
They won't have any vegetarian options, and they're like, oh, nobody's complained that we don't have vegetarian options. It's like, right, because they just walk away. They're not gonna like sit and argue. They're just gonna leave.
They now need to leave to go get food and have less time. So.
Yeah.
What's the point of the argument?
Yeah.
They're also used to it.
I believe at Hell City, the last year we were in Phoenix, where like the hotel was kind of like not the best to us, and like their attitude did change by the end of the weekend. But I kept pointing out that we needed vegetarian options, because I heard people complaining, and I was like,
yeah.
there's no vegetarian option.
Mhm.
But all the kitchen staff was like, nobody's complained to us. So then I started like climbing up the ladder, and then the next day there were vegetarian options. Like,
Which-
it was like on the sign, like ask for vegetarian option. I was like, perfect, that's all we needed. And you know,
We did find out that
vegetarians-
that was the hack to get fresh food, was we would ask for a cheese pizza because they only brought out meat pizzas. So if you asked for a cheese pizza, they would go and make you one and then bring it to you. So you weren't
You're
eating
welcome,
hot
Ben.
box pizzas. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks. I use that a lot. A lot. Because there's no, I mean, like, when you're working, you don't have any other dining options. We don't get to leave. We don't get to, there's no one bringing us a sandwich. We're in another state. Everybody we know is in this fucking room.
Yeah.
So like, our options are what are right there. And when I remember a few years back, they had hamburgers that were just raw. And it
Barely
was just
cooked.
kind of like, hey, y'all. Nah.
Yep. So they actually had very decent food. The chicken Caesar wraps, everybody that had those was great. I'm a nacho girl. I feel like even bad nachos are good, so that's always a safe for me.
Sounds right.
I never met a nacho I disliked.
Why?
See, once you
Aw.
gotta like creep in there a little bit. This is why we say don't set up with your back to us. Like, give us a little bit of a window in, because like, look, I get to share this. We get to see
Look
what
at
you're
that greasy
doing.
hand.
Ugh. I love watching people get tattooed. And when you get this close up and you could just concentrate on like the actual process. Love it.
I'm gonna need that before long.
This was another 3-day piece here.
Man. That's just so much commitment. I
I
don't think
mean-
my body doesn't want that much tattoo in 3 days. Like I'm telling you, we break that 6-8 hour mark and I'm done. I don't know. And you want to do this tomorrow? Fuck all the way off. Y'all are the real heroes. I'm gonna throw it out there. Real heroes. I
Here
don't
we
think-
go. Remember
think
that
that's what
was
I
the piece earlier that I was like, wait till you see how this has evolved. It cruised through that piece.
Ow.
It looks super seepy and weepy, but it's just ointment sitting on top of what was tattooed the day before. So where it looks kind of bubbly
my
and scabby,
heart
it's
just
not. It's kind
goes
of like an
out
optical
To
illusion.
this like poor raw brother. Like
Oh, he will lay there like a
tomorrow,
piece of meat,
the
like
day
dead.
after that, he is schnitzel. Ain't nothing you can do but be schnitzel. Chopped up, beat up, pressed on. No.
I mean, after a few hours, I shall thought like, you're grinding my meat.
Right.
I'm not grinding your meat. Yes, you are.
Or, I don't like it anymore.
A few hours. So yeah, props to them.
Yep. Man, oh man, seemed like a stacked house too. I'm seeing all kinds of names here.
I saw James Hall. He was in the booth with Zach Singer. You recognize Zach from across the room, and then I'm like watching Zach work, and I look over, and James like, "Oh, hey, buddy, what are you doing here?" I was like, "Fancy meeting you here." Oh, this poor guy. He was hurting by day 3.
Oh, fuck that. Not his googly eyes. That's actually really cute.
The
But
3-day Polynesian.
yes. Is that sexy brain alien?
Yeah.
You know, like the ones the government said were real just the other day and nobody seems to care about.
Jordan seems pretty excited about that.
The come on. If there was one person that you knew would be like, oh, and let me tell you everything. It would be Jordan. So like, yeah. Government officially released that aliens are real the other day. They've had contact for years.
Did they?
Yeah.
Official as fuck.
Yeah, we're not making it up. There's like hearings and stuff going on about it, and who's whistleblowers and who's not, and how much trouble they're in for being whistleblowers, and laws are going to change about whistleblowing and yada yada.
So here in about 3 days, we're gonna find out that was all about some cover up because somebody was fucking a kid somewhere that we didn't know about. And that we're just trying to.
Say, is there a
How'd we
picture? It
accidentally
didn't
get
happen if
political?
there's not a picture, like a legit picture
There's lots of pictures.
from the government.
Of aliens?
They're redacted.
Oh, that's right. They're redacted. Wow,
Black electrical
fucking-
tape through the middle of the photo.
actors.
Would be like perfect photo, aerial,
I
landscape,
was going
X
with
in the middle.
they're from a different dimension and our film can't capture them.
Fake news
It's
network.
possible.
Nope, real.
Fake news.
Just like that taxidermy. I need that in my life. Fun. Hear me out.
What?
Listen, all the words. If you ever find a posable taxidermied raccoon, the price does not matter.
Opposable? Like it's gotta be tattooed or taxidermied over top of like a baby doll?
Like wire based, yes.
Why has it gotta be a
If
posable
you
one?
ever find a posable
What are you gonna pose it
taxidermied,
to do?
just some things are best
Is it
at the reveal.
Elf on a shelf,
No, but there will be a rodeo. I'll
like
tell
the
you that much.
raccoon of doom.
There will be a rodeo. Anyway, just saying, in the travels, I don't care what that tag says. We'll refinance things. Posable raccoon. If it has a cowboy hat that fits it, even better. Just saying. Challenge to all of you. Look at him wrapping his bottle with a 9,000 foot saran wrap. What's that?
Well, you know,
Get it done.
yeah, look at this thing. Yeah, how crisp and smooth and black that black is. And then all the textures. This is a great example of just,
Tattoos.
yeah. Yeah, even if you're not into like weird bio-y black work, like you've got to appreciate how well some of these are done. Like that's one of the things I love about a show like this, where it really is about the, the quality of the work. You get 1,000 different examples over the weekend, all in different styles, but they're all like A game. Oh, this is a Sacred Ink. I've been using a set that he gave me. Man, at one of the shows I was at with Chicago, I think. We were there for True Tubes, and he gave me a set of 24 or 25 colors. And I've been loving it. Like some of them are kind of thick like pudding, but they do go in nicely. I'm pretty impressed.
What? Look at that.
Little pedal car airplane.
That's rad. Not
Just
the
a random
Ferrari.
Lambo.
Oh, the Lambo?
Maybe it's a Ferrari. I can't remember.
You're
A
probably right.
sports car I will never be able to drive. Might as well be a unicorn.
I drove a Ferrari 6 feet.
6 feet, huh?
6 feet.
Drive it down a ramp or
I pulled it in someone's garage.
nice. Nice.
This particular individual, I probably shouldn't mention on air, but makes more money than this building in an hour. And like,
Needed a roof?
no, this is way back in the day. And it was one of those like, is that my tip? And he was like, no, but you can pull it in. He was like, if you can start it, you can pull it in,
Oh,
is what he said.
you know what? when I get that challenge. I'm so thankful that I know how to drive a stick and I can drive like a nice, tight, sporty clutch.
Well, this
too.
was before push starts were really a thing and most people didn't understand. Oh, there's no key.
My cousin's husband may have encouraged me to drive his Roush Mustang.
Yep.
And
Yep.
he was pretty impressed that I could drive it. And I was like, well, this kind of means I
This was
should
part
need
of
to
being
get
an
one of
adult for me.
these.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, this feels too comfortable.
I didn't have an automatic vehicle until I was in my mid-20s. All my first cars were six.
Did you drive dirt bike or anything when you were a kid?
Duh.
I feel like riding a dirt bike when I was so little, I think it made it just innate when I learned how to drive a clutch.
Just
Reverse
made
was always
clutches make
tricky
sense.
for me, but that's just because I didn't really trust the distance behind me and I'd hesitate. Reverse is the only one that stalled me when I was learning how to drive.
You ever get in a 6-speed and reverses to the left to first? Fucks you up.
It's been years since I've driven a stick, and like if I have to stop abruptly, I still hit the invisible clutch. I don't know if you know this. Like my van definitely has an invisible clutch. Red Caddy definitely had an invisible clutch.
Yeah,
Tiny car, invisible clutch.
yeah.
It had paddle shifters though, so invisible clutch with paddle shifters was like magic. It was like a video game.
Anyway, tattoos. Oh,
I do love, I feel like I slowed way down taking footage this time and I feel like that was the way to go. Once
I
we get on this other
concur.
streaming, it won't be quite so choppy because on the camera, this is super smooth in 4K. Kelly Gromley? He's somebody I followed like as long as I've been tattooing. Crazy googly
Oh, it's
eyes.
anglefish.
Is that what this is?
Yeah,
This was the first one
yeah,
that Kyle showed?
yeah.
Nice, makes sense.
Stencil? Fuck that stencil. I'm gonna do what I want.
Yeah. I mean, that's, you have the freedom when it's your design. Change, make improvements, flow.
We decided to go a little bit more spiky and a little less rounded.
How graceful each little line is, though. I always say, like, there's no such thing as a straight line in any tattoo, but the goal is to make it graceful, to like just pull
There's
the
no
line with
straight
grace and
body part.
confidence. Right, as long as you pull it with grace, it'll flow into and out of. You know, if you have that instead of perfect on the tip of your brain while you're making each line, if you have the thought of a graceful, and it just like slows everything in your body down. And like when you think grace, you just naturally move differently than when you're like straight, 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 straight.
Right,
Don't make
right,
mistake,
right.
big mistake. Be graceful, go with the flow.
Fawn, you'd be
Grace.
proud of me. I took one of the True Tattoo rotary pens
What'd you make?
and was shading in one of the snail pictures that I have. And it's actually pretty baller.
Ben,
I was like,
I knew the day would come where
my
you were gonna be
whips
like,
are all lining up.
look at this.
My whips are all lining up. So my dots are all in a row. And I was like, huh,
I knew the day would come.
what? Did you look at that? It made me smile. I figured you'd laugh. I thought she had a, never mind. Kind words, man. Kind words.
Ben. Look at what Max was working on.
Yeah, I saw that earlier. You showed it.
Nailed it. He did so good. It looked like this thing was printed by a computer by the time he was done. Tiny little marks, fading into not so tiny little marks.
So what is that symbol called?
It's just a Spalding or a starburst,
Spalding.
but
Okay.
it morphs into these little squares. So kind of cool.
So I was trying to describe that shape to somebody at one point because I wanted that as a tattoo.
That's what I
Yeah.
would call it.
And it took a lot of words that I didn't understand. That sign is great.
This guy was rad. I would definitely hang out with him and talk to him some more.
He
But
has spikes
notice
in
the
his
way he
forehead.
was set up, just
He has
like
spikes in his-
encouraging people to
Fun,
talk to him.
fun. You graze over the
He
fact that
does.
he has spikes in
He
his
does,
forehead.
but if you look back at his banner, it has tentacles.
I'm not
So,
mad
like-
at it, but you can't just like,
And look, he's tattooing an alien. This is Jam, obviously.
me and this fly. We're a group of. I'm sorry, Rat. I forgot you were there. I didn't mean to scare you,
Yeah,
buddy. I was trying to
tap,
get the
tap,
fly
tap.
off my foot.
The graceful lines.
I'd let that happen. You're gonna tattoo an alien on me.
Okay.
Mhm.
Have like an alien like creeping in on your camper.
Oh, in the tractor beam.
Maybe. You could throw a little UFO up in the sky. A little beacon.
Oh, I thought you were talking about armpit.
Oh, no, I was talking about your legs.
Oh yeah, we can do that too. But we're gonna do a spaceship in my armpit. We'll put a little alien in it.
I did on one of my clients, Cameron, I have in his sleeve, there's this like background detail of a flying saucer with like the tractor beam coming down and a taco truck going up.
Taco, taco, taco.
Everybody needs a taco truck being abducted by laser beams.
I have a taco truck.
A taco truck tattoo?
No, in real
Where?
life, I have
Oh.
a taco truck. My truck is the taco truck.
The taco truck, right?
'Cause it's a
Taco.
Taco, taco, taco truck.
I was afraid I didn't get enough footage for us.
I think you did an amazing job at this convention, Pond. Quality is way up.
You know,
Footage is way up.
I didn't have
Lots of
other
names.
responsibilities other than walking around and grabbing footage every so often.
It's kind of cool just to go to a convention every now and then, isn't it?
I love going to conventions just as a spectator. Like I love working and helping with Hell City. I love helping in the True Tubes booth, but there's always this like my phone's in my pocket and there might be somebody asking a weird question. I gotta get it back and I gotta get back to the booth any minute. Jess could have to like need a break or eat or any of the above. But it's nice when I'm not tattooing. I don't have to worry about any sales or helping babysit. Like, it's nice to just observe as a spectator.
Remember that one time we were all pumped about going to the show? And we were like, oh, yeah, we don't have to work. We're just gonna hang out and have fun. And ended up with a double booth.
Oh, are you talking about the Rubber City Expo last year?
Oh, was that what it was?
That was what it was.
And isn't that next weekend?
Indeed. Indeed it is.
Indubitably.
Yes.
Good at this. It's called a segue, Sarah.
Segue.
Segue, not the fucking people mover. Conversational segue. So are we going to Rubber City?
I don't know. Are you planning on going?
That's why I'm asking you. On. Are we going to Rubber City?
Let's work these plans out off air because I'm not 100% sure. I do have tattoo appointments this weekend.
If we do go,
If
if
we go.
we go, can we please go to the place across the street from it that serves the espresso on top of the vanilla ice cream?
How did I miss that?
Are you fist fucking me? That was the best part of Akron last year. Oh, directly across the street from the main entrance where the parking garage is, parking garage strip of businesses. First business on the corner. Amazing little bakery. Fucking delicious.
I missed it.
Everything
Did you
they had.
Did you have the Italian food?
9 out of 10. I didn't have any
The
Italian.
Italian place was awesome.
Pumped
So I
on
did
that.
experience
So I'm
that.
leaving and everybody's ordering coffee. And I'm like, ooh. And she's like, hey, you ever had it like this? And this wonderful human being puts a baby little vanilla scoop of ice cream inside of, we'll call it just larger than a Dixie cup, like the smallest of small of cups that you could have, and then puts a hot shot of espresso over it. And it made this foamy, delicious
Treat.
vanilla-y cooled down of a drink that made my inside parts happy.
Wow.
Joy.
I missed that.
joy.
I missed that.
If we go, before we go to said convention and are all spaced out, forget. Can we stop at the coffee place?
Sure,
Please.
who am I to
Please?
kill
I'll
your
buy
joy?
yours. I'll buy you some coffee. You want
Who
coffee?
am
I'll buy
I
you
to kill your
coffee.
joy?
Thanks, Fawn. That's all a guy can ask for. That's all a guy can ask for.
Yeah, Akron was great last week or last year.
It was. We did some falls.
Todd was hanging out. Jay was hanging out with us.
We had a crew.
Adam, Lauren, Jess, Cal.
Yeah,
Did you go up to Akron?
Yeah.
We were up at Akron, yeah.
that was one of the first shows I went with Kyle too.
We went waterfall chasing after.
Yeah,
You
we did
guys
all
got to
kinds
see
of
my
good
favorite
stuff.
spot. So I'm like, hawking.
There was a ton of reinventing people there. There was, yeah, that was a good show last year.
The Tattoo Machine Olympics.
Oh, that was so fucking cool. I'm gonna throw it out there. I'd watch that again.
You'd watch it again.
I'd watch it again.
I am pretty sure that's going to be going on again. Yeah, Akron.
I'm a big fan. Then it's like just far enough for it to be a commitment, but not so far that it's like a day ruiner.
Yeah, we could go for a few hours. We wouldn't
Yeah.
have to all day it.
Hard in for that thing.
Mhm.
That and OG Denny Michaels. He's, been on our show, talked about tattoo value and valuing the artists and
Mhm.
their expertise and things like that. He is got a booth there this
Nice.
year,
Nice.
and I would love to pinch his beautiful face. I'd pay the entry fee just to squeeze that human. I miss him.
Just to squeeze the human, huh?
That particular human, not just like any rando.
Oh, nice, Kyle. You're on it.
Bum, 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 bum.
This would be cool if these were all actual playing cards like what Chris did for the Indie Expo.
I do believe they may have shared this idea.
I love it. It's a great lineup. He's got even more big names than he had last year.
Grab the blanket from the car and lay it on the ground, take a nap.
I hear you, Nappy Poo. You took 2 of the edibles. That's why.
I forgot.
Yeah, they sneaky like that.
The
You're like,
edibles?
yeah. She was like, "Can I have both these?" I'm like, "You can do whatever you want." And now she's like, "Why am I asleep?"
So we've got a friend that makes the same kind of candies and they're like 5 milligrams a piece. So they're intended to just pop one every half hour.
Oh,
They're
I
not
was
intended
I
like
was
you're
very
doing, like they
very
get you.
specific with the
They get
dosage.
you. Yes.
Very like word for word.
I was like, no, he kind of played it a little bit more casual than that. I was like, should I eat both these? He's like, you can eat however many you want.
But I started with, "Do you want a 25 mil hard candy?" And you went, "Ooh."
I don't really eat candies like that, so I don't know.
She's like, I don't know if 25 is a lot.
So you blame me for your inexperience, I hear.
Yeah.
Let's glow. That was funny. All right. Well,
So
what
one
else
of
you
the
got for me,
things,
phone?
we could show off a little bit of my work because I did a couple of pieces that I started recently that I'm super proud of. Neither one is complete, but if Kyle wanted to bring up those 2 pieces from our Instagram, and well, we're showing those crazy things off. There are these crazy wigwags that I took from glass art and kind of like polarized and manipulated the photos. So they look pretty crazy.
You're the one that taught me what
Look at this.
wigwags are.
This is on our buddy Devin. Rich Cook is going to be adding his part of the collaboration Sunday. We're going to combine our 2 elements in the middle, and then we're going to be like rotating back and forth, coloring the whole thing. So it,
Squeeze the human for me. I miss
Yep.
that guy.
hey, it was awesome to hang out with Rich. He is doing wonderfully. I'm super excited to share. So,
I like Devin too. He's an okay guy.
yep, they're all right. Both of them.
Okay-ish.
And then I started another piece, just so happened the very next day. I didn't even mean to schedule them back to back. But this is on Joe, so this goes from like Alex
Oh.
Gray art with some of my stuff on top,
See, we're
sacred
good
geometry,
kids.
and then into wigwag. his wife came while I was working on him and she's like, it's crazy. It looks like a portal. And we both just like looked at each other and we're like, yep,
Yeah.
mission accomplished. So I only got a little bit of the like color inside the wigwag started, but I'm just really excited about this because I want to incorporate this kind of craziness in a lot of my new work, just because like I don't know anybody else doing it. And I really, really enjoy myself. And I like it's like meditative to like imagine, first of all, the artist that built this wigwag out of glass, and then to sit there and just focus on the flow and the repetitive nature of it. I just love it. So
I like
anybody
'em.
wanting some crazy wigwag trippy stuff,
I do.
I'm your kid.
Do you want to put a wigwag portal on my ankle down here?
Sure, absolutely. Let's do it.
Like hard it.
Okay,
Okay.
we just gotta pick out a wigwag and run it.
You pick out the.
Let's see. I think we touched on everything I wanted to talk about. We did not jump into summer tattoo care or
But you know
our
what?
thoughts on tribal tattoos. Do you
It's
think we
gonna
could
it's
lead
gonna be
into that
summer next week.
Still summer?
Yeah, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, we could jump into the summer tattoo care.
I'm just
Sunblock,
saying,
cover it.
I've already seen some the fuck you doing over there. And I'd like to maybe touch on some of that.
Fair.
Fair. But other than that, we've had a
Um,
rather productive show.
So one of the things in the background that's been going on, I may or may not have gotten roped into co-hosting the Tattoo Weekly on Mondays.
What?
So Tattoo Weekly's been on a little bit of a hiatus because the whole show is getting a facelift and a rebuild, and it's gonna be much more like a legitimate news kind of show. It'll be segmented. It's gonna have a ticker
Nice.
strolling at the bottom. It's gonna be pretty stinking cool.
Stepping it up.
Yeah, the last few weeks we've been meeting and just kind of going over some of the new
Is this
software that we're
every
playing
Monday
around
you're gonna
with.
be doing that? Or
Yeah, it'll
just
be Mondays at 11
Aww.
Eastern. But once we kind of have that launched and the kinks worked out, I'm going to basically kind of use that as a template and well, I just want to approach it like brother and sister shows. You know what I mean? We're talking about a lot of the same things. However, ours is much more laid back and casual. But our show's intended to be digested long form by people sitting and getting tattooed.
Right.
Or people preparing to get tattooed. Where the Tattoo Weekly is intended for tattooers that want to
Right.
stay up to date on current events. We're going to be talking about MOCRA every week.
What?
MOCRA, it has to do with the combining of the tattoo industry and the cosmetic industry under the FDA's classification.
So what you're saying is to tune in and listen and learn?
Yeah, you're going to be getting at least a handful of minutes every week about what's going on with MOCRA and what's going on in different states. So if you're a tattooer, those are things that are really important to keep up to date on. And it's like an hour a week that you can listen to while you're getting ready, drawing, whatever. And it's going to keep you up to date on tattoo events going on all over the world. It's going to keep you up to date on new laws and standards. It's going to have, you know, scientists that are working with like the APT, who is the Association of Professional Tattooers. So they're kind of like preparing to work with the FDA. So if you want to be like in the loop, it's going to be like the most informative hour of the week. And then if you want to like absorb it a little more casually, you're going to have our show for that. So it'll basically be a
Roll on
lot
in
of
for
the,
our show.
yeah, it'll be a lot of the same things covered, but we're going to have a lot more knowledge for collectors and just the whole community who's into art and, you know, preserving and protecting our community. Because there's like, if we're talking about the MOCRA stuff, there's more to it than just artists, you know. If every artist, let's say, how many tattoo artists do you think there are in the United States? Let's just say 100,000, just because.
Light number, yeah.
Yeah, let's just say that many. Let's just, for a light number, say each one of those has 100 clients.
It's a lot of people.
That's a million, that's over 1 million people.
It's a lot.
That's 1,100,000 people right there. So when it comes to collecting data and things like that, which we're gonna need to do, it'll be really cool for collectors to be able to be involved and participate in surveys and just know they even exist so that they can share their experiences of how well self-regulated our industry already is. So we can prove that we're pretty well self-regulated, a lot of things aren't going to change. So that's
Right.
where these things are kind of important. So anyways, long story short, we Tattoo Weekly on Mondays. And then we'll kind of be the sister show to that, bringing you the same stuff that we already do, but you know,
Our way.
rabbit holes,
Our
chasing
way.
bunnies.
Heavily medicated. No.
I let this go out.
What the
I got to
fuck?
talking.
Fine.
I got to talking about
Why are you
other
talking on a talk
projects.
show?
I let us down.
No,
I
that is
understand.
never true.
So next week, we're gonna be talking about summer tattoo care, sunblocks, what to do, what not to do, how to care for fresh tattoos, how to care for healed tattoos, how to preserve tattoos, all the things.
Bam, bam, bam.
And then we'll also be sharing thoughts on tribal tattoos.
Sounds like a winner.
Ben wants to start a movement.
I do. Yeah, just we'll get there. I'll
We'll
let y'all
get
know.
there.
That's called suspense. I'll teach you how to build that.
Kyle, anything you can think of that we should mention before we sign off? No? Well, yes, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for joining us this week. Maddie is busy tattooing, but thanks for joining us. Kind of makes conversation go super easy when Maddie's on board.
Maddie's one of those people that you can have any conversation at any point of the day, and she is pumped to do it.
Thanks to Sarah for joining us.
Good job,
Usually
Sarah.
She's not game to be on camera, so this is a big step.
Yay.
All right, guys. Well, thanks everybody for helping make this possible. Kyle, thanks for running things on the back end. And we will see you all next week.
Hasta luego.